The first one, I went to Clear Lake Elementary School, and frankly, I did not know how I'll present. I vividly remember how excited they were because I taught them the song that rhymes with Yankee Doodle. Akachimba chimba aka onalo almasi. I taught them that song, and we were all dancing at the end of the presentation time. Everybody was dancing, and they had a lot of fun. So, and I had a lot of fun as well.
The original concept of ICSP, the International Cultural Service Program, was based on financial aid. International students needed more money. How could we do that? This other point is that international students are really underutilized educational resources. And they're there, but how many times do you walk by an international student and you don't talk to them, so you don't really benefit from how they see the world, what they could teach you? And so we wanted to structure learning from international students, and we put a financial incentive on to make it happen.
ICSP is a long-standing program. It started over 35 years ago, and through the course of those years, there have been more than 300 students that have participated on the ICSP program. We have students from Africa, from Asia, from Latin America, from North America, so it really does represent a global cohort.
The parents came back like 4 years ago, or 5 years ago, and they asked me, what I was interested in doing. I said, I'd love to do home ec, or foods and nutrition. I said, oh, we know a good school out in Oregon. I said, which one? They said, Oregon State University. I said, Malaya, who was my age mate, is out at OSU studying engineering, so they reckon, why don't you apply? And I did, and I was accepted, OSU. But I didn't stay there for long. I didn't like the place, so I came here. That's how come I'm here. The first 1.5 years, I missed them a whole lot because I hadn't made friends yet. When you're taken from one place and you're put in another and you don't know anybody, you don't know anything, you don't know how people are going to react to you, and that's when you really miss your friends and your family, and you wish there was somebody around to just get to know other things with.
One of the first encounters I had with an ICSP student was a student from Kenya, a Maasai from Kenya. I think his name was Kimali. I just remember that part of it. Orientation leaders were talking about duck ID and duck this and duck that and computers and everything. And this guy was just standing in the middle of all of this noise. And he had a smile in his face, the calmest smile you could imagine. So I asked him to sit down. I said, do you know what's going on? This must be all too confusing. So many things around here. He said, until this week, I had never been on a plane. I'd never seen a plane. I'd never seen a computer. So I just let these things go by me. He was one of the most impressive guys.
Doofy has, I think, maybe the best story of all. He went out to Triangle Lake. Triangle Lake is a small rural community, and at that school, he was warned ahead of going into the class that there were skinheads in the class, and they were racists. And he's giving his normal presentation, and he was told as he was leaving the class by one of these skinheads that how Doofy had humanized black people. And he was going to rethink his racism.
I know this sounds strange, right? This is strange. strange. You never seen something like that. What is that? What can you guess what I was doing? I was praying. She said I was praying. What do you think?
No, I think it was saying hi.
I was saying hi. Okay, who has something else to say?
You're greeting someone?
I'm greeting.
There's a lot of misconceptions about my continent alone itself, that it's a country, even though it's not. And then there's a lot of misconceptions about Guinea, because one kind of weird thing that I've gotten also is that people don't know a lot of difference between the Guineas. There are quite a couple of them. So a lot of them think it's either Ghana or Guinea-Bissau or Papua New Guinea, which is nowhere near.
One of the biggest challenges for me was to actually become more knowledgeable about my own country, so I could make it engaging for them.
Back home, I did a lot of public speaking, being the president of the student government, or like showing up in there were a lot of like student revolutions, and I was just there speaking up to the whole crowd. But I never really had to do it in a different language and talking about things that for me were just like so normal, and just looking at it from a third perspective, it was just a big cultural shock for me to do that. It's been 2 years from that time, and I feel so much more confident about myself when talking about culture. It just became a topic that I'm really interested and fascinated with. I think I never would have been here if it wasn't because of ICSP.
So to come to the U.S., you have to show to the United States Embassy that you have secure funding to at least be able to support yourself for 1 year or more. And in case of an international student with a fee on top of the out-of-state tuition, that's a lot of money. Especially, it's a lot of money for folks who come from developing countries, and when you do the conversion of the money, their money doesn't really go very far when you compare it to the US dollar.
As you all know, tuition is very expensive, and it keeps increasing every year, and more for international students. I applied for ICSP, didn't think that I was gonna get it because I didn't hear anything back from the committee. And I see an email saying, we would like to interview you. And so I ran to the kitchen, told my host mom, and we were screaming and I was crying. During that moment, what came to my head was, oh my God, I got something.
A little bit more, and it's an opportunity for you to sort of get directly with someone. My hope is that I'll be around to celebrate a 50th anniversary of ICSP. I think ICSP is that important. It's that important for our campus and community, and it's that important to provide access to brilliant individuals that simply wouldn't be able to further their education just because of the place and time that they were born. My hope is that ICSP expands. My hope is that ICSP has a growing impact on and off campus, and then obviously around the world after those individuals graduate and move on.
Programs like ICSP, and definitely ICSP itself, allow us to feel and connect at the human level, regardless of the cultural differences. Walls separate us and emphasize how we might be different from one another. And ICSP does the exact opposite.
By doing these presentations from ICSP, that really taught me to discover who I was, to discover my culture, to embrace that.
You learn from other people, no matter where they are from, but the amount you learn from somebody from another culture is a lot more.
And the more you understand, the more you see each other, you realize, wow, we are actually the same people.
I think the biggest takeaway for me is the notion of bringing people together from different countries, different ethnicities, different races, different religious beliefs, political views, and that's something that you can't teach. You have to experience. to be honest with you, I don't think I ever stopped, giving back to the community.